right. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. I don't think we have any attendees that it's the evening for today, but whatever time of day it is for you, welcome. Thank you for joining us today. As you know, I don't like to spend a lot of time on just greetings and timeliness of the day before we jump right in. So I think with no further ado, I will hand over to today's host, who I believe you should all be familiar with, I hope, our Executive Officer, Andy Hewitt.
Thank you, Jen, and thank you everybody for signing up for today's webinar, which is going to be, if I can get it on screen. Yeah, so today, the subject of today's webinar, as I'm sure you know because you signed up for it, is an introduction to ICCP corporate membership. And I think from what Jen was saying that quite a few people who have signed up today are actually already individual members of the ICCP. So hopefully we've got some other people who may be interested as well. So forgive me if you're already a member and you know all about the ICCP, but I'd like to start with a quick introduction for non-members so they know a little bit about the background of us. So firstly, what is the ICCP? Well, it's a professional members organisation that recognises those who have the skills, the qualifications and expertise in the professional management of construction claims. And our objectives are, firstly, to establish international professional standards for the management of claims. Secondly, to give recognition to those people who have gained appropriate knowledge and experience in the management of claims, because many of us came through the route of, in my own case, we've got a claim on this job. Who can we get to do it? Well, Andy's probably the most suitable person, even though he doesn't have a lot of experience in it. So you grow and you learn on the job. Well, the ICCP is now available to help people like that to go from those first steps in putting a claim together to actually becoming somewhat of an expert and becoming a professional person who has the knowledge to manage claims. And thirdly, going back really to what I've just said, is for people who are just starting out dealing with claims, either through choice or through being told they've got to manage the claims on the project, is to help and educate people like that and get them to a suitable stage where they can actually manage claims to a suitable professional standard. So that's why we exist. You may ask yourselves, why is there the need for yet another professional institute? Well, personally, I'm a member, a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Building, of the Institute of Civil Engineering Surveyors, of the Quantity Surveyors International, as well as the ICCP. So why did I need another qualification? Well, these days, claims have become a key part of the construction industry internationally. Most jobs these days will have a claim or claims at one level or another. And if we're on a large project or a project that is going wrong, or there are contentions, well, of course, then the claims will increase in propensity. So we've got a situation, or we had a situation, where many people, like myself many years ago, from either engineering backgrounds, quantity surveying backgrounds, project management, etc., have gained these skills of how to prepare, and I keep saying prepare, but also to respond to claims, so we don't, so we can agree things on the way, and we don't proceed to costly and time-consuming dispute. So we have these people that have, if you like, self-taught, or if they were lucky like myself, had colleagues who would help them along the way and mentor them. And once you've reached that standard, well, I think there should be some recognition in the same way as if you've qualified as a quantity surveyor, You can become a member of the Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors or another institute, and the same thing for project managers, engineers, etc. Well, I think now we've got this specialised sector of the industry, it's important to recognise those people for having these skills that they've worked hard to achieve. And as I've already alluded to, there are many, many professional organisations, depending on your qualifications, your experience, your profession. But until we established the ICCP, there wasn't an institute that specifically, firstly, helped people dealing with claims, but also recognised those who have already attained the specialist knowledge and experience and skills to be able to professionally manage claims and respond to claims to the highest levels of professionalism. So that's what the ICCP stands for. It's setting those professional standards and also helping people to reach those professional standards. I might mention at this point that traditionally over many, many years, one of the highest reasons for disputes are inadequately expressed claims. So that tells us something about the industry. We know that claims are necessary. Most contracts will allow for claims, but we go about preparing those claims and responding to those claims not to a very good standard. And again, the ICCP is there to set those standards and encourage people to meet those standards when they're working with claims. So quickly, the ICCP is managed by a steering committee, or sorry, I shouldn't say managed by a steering committee. It's managed by the management and admin staff, but it is guided by the steering committee. The steering committee are elected, or the majority are elected. So I'm the executive officer. Paul Gibbons is the elected president. Çağdaş Bayrak from Turkey is a elected fellow. Daniel Alcon, who is currently in the Middle East, but generally lives in Southeast Asia, in Malaysia, is an elected fellow, as is Mansour Ali. And then hiding behind my little view tabs is Nina, who is the general manager, who is currently on maternity leave. And we are being very ably supported by Jen, who I'm sure many of you know already. Membership, and we're talking here about individual membership, just an introduction. I won't go into the details, but basically membership for individuals is available at associate level, i.e. people who are wanting to reach and to grow their skill sets to become a full member. So obviously then they would progress to be a member of the ICCP, and fellows are people who have got really the top end of the tree, that have been in the business a long time and can demonstrate that they've got a very, very high level of expertise. And one of the things that we do within the ICCP, if someone wants to become a fellow, which is a very, very high achievement, they need to commit to helping their fellow members in some way, giving webinars, sharing knowledge, mentoring associates, etc., etc. We also have student members and graduate members. And again, I'm not going to go into the detail, to bridge the gap between maybe, and I would say maybe mature students who are, for example, qualified as engineers or whatever, but then they are taking, for example, a degree in construction law because they want to specialize in claims and associated matters, maybe dispute management, etc. So this brings us on to corporate membership, and it's something that we've always had in the ICCP, but we've never really done a lot to promote it. And I think that is a very important thing from 2 points of view. Firstly, if you are a company or a practice that's offering services to your clients, I think, and going back to several years ago, maybe 15 years ago, when I was a freelance constructions consultant dealing in contractual matters and claims, it was very, very useful for me to show my personal qualifications to my clients, so they know that I've reached a certain standard within the industry. But as an individual trader with a registered company, to show that I also work to corporate standards. So to have in my case, I was a chartered building consultancy, which meant that I'd got to conform to the standards and regulations for the Chartered Institute of Building. Or it could have been, personally, I'm not an RICS member, but it could be a practice may be affiliated with the RICS or any other professional organisation. So it would have been quite useful, because my speciality was claims and disputes, to be able to show my clients on my stationery, my website, etc., that the company itself was working to certain standards. So what is corporate membership? And how would you qualify if you are a company or a practice or even a sole trader to become a corporate member? Well, firstly, your company must be involved in the preparation of claims, responses to claims, determination of claims, or the management of claims. So that's the whole thing. But it also extends, and the two go hand in hand, to adjudication or dispute management. Or if your company is a larger company that's got certain departments that specialize in things, you may have a planning, you may offer planning services, programming services, forensic data analysis, expert witnesses, whatever. But if you've got a department that deals with claims and related matters, well, again, that would qualify your practice as a whole to be an ICCP corporate member. If you are maybe a smaller company or a specialized claims consultant, or companies that provide a claims centre service as part of a wider scope, that would also fall into the category. So I've sort of talked about that before. So basically a sole trader or a small practice offering claims advice, or a larger company that has departments or personnel that specialise in claims and related matters, you would qualify. We recognise that qualifying corporate members would consist of maybe small sole proprietor organisations, possibly some of you signed in today fall into that category, through to large international consultancies. So obviously they've got different needs and also different financial capabilities. So we've come up with different categories so that corporate members can select a membership package to suit their own organisation. So in other words, if you're a large organisation, your package is going to be different to a sole trader, for example. And we've tried to set the fees so that it's attractive to companies or individuals of all descriptions. So what would be the benefits if you joined the ICCP and you became an ICCP corporate member? Well, firstly, you will be promoting to your clients and potential clients that your company or practice upholds the professional standards and ethics of the ICCP, just in the same way as if you were a cost consultancy or a quantity surveying practice. If you were an RICS corporate member, you would have to comply with their rules and regulations. Well, it's exactly the same. By doing that, you should give your clients the comfort that they are working, and probably potential clients is more important here, that they are working with an organisation that is suitably qualified and experienced to provide services on matters related to claims. Now, I've noticed a shift over the years. I got involved in claims on a full-time basis, let's say 15 years ago. And 15 years ago, there were various companies that specialized in claims. I worked for one, J.R. Knowles at the time, and that's where I learned my skills to become a claims practitioner. And the majority of these companies had very, very well qualified people, and just as part of their everyday work, did work to a very, very good standard and upheld very, very high professional ethics. And I think that's because the people had come out of professions that required those ethical standards to be maintained. Fast forward 15 years later, and I see on the marketplace a lot of people purporting to be professional claims consultants, but when I've seen examples of their work, and I've actually been in a position where I've been personally working on behalf of the employer and reviewing claims, and then I've come to find out that these claims have been prepared by what is supposed to be a claims consultant, and I'm absolutely disgusted with the fact that somebody is calling themselves a professional claims consultant and cannot produce work to a better standard of that. And usually I have absolutely no problem in defending against that claim. And certainly looking at it from a professional standard would not be happy to call that person a professional claims consultant. So things have changed. And you know, in many parts of the world, the Middle East, particularly where I'm used to working, is, you know, everything is related to cost. So if you can get a well-qualified, well-experienced consultant, but it costs a bit more than somebody who is cheap that doesn't know what they're doing, unfortunately, these days, very often people will go for the cheap one. So we need to change that, and I think by being able to display your qualifications, your experience, your professionalism, we should be able to, or we hope we'll be able to convince most clients, if not all clients, to put the money, particularly when we're talking about high amounts of money which are related to claims, either delay penalties or claiming for costs or variations, to put your money where it's important and employ good people to prepare these claims that are worth sometimes millions of dollars. So on to benefits again. So as a corporate member, you'll be entitled to a range of benefits that will ensure that you get the most out of your membership, including, well, as a corporate member, you will have a certificate and you will be entitled to display the ICCP corporate member logo on your company marketing materials, your business cards, your stationery, your websites, or whatever you like. We will give full access to the members area. Those of you who are already individual members know the advantages of being a member. As an individual, we've got all the information that we produce for our members, but you will be also allow access to the members areas to any other of your personnel, because through your corporate membership. So access to the members area where, and I say designated users, as a corporate member, you would designate the users that will give the access codes, etc., to the database. They'll have your personal news feed, any new information, articles, webinars, etc., training courses. So all that would be available to designated members of your staff, your team. Again, designated members would get copies of our newsletter, which is, I have to say, for a small organization, our ICCP newsletter is up there amongst the best organization newsletters that you will find anywhere. We have always links to interesting articles, information on webinars, information on training, whatever's happening in the world of claims. You will be able to link your profile on the ICCP website as a corporate member And that will include your company logo, what your profile, the profile of your company, or any contact details and links to your website. So what we'd like to see is that a potential client that wants some assistance on claims will go to the ICCP and look at corporate members and in fact individuals, I suppose, when they're looking for a professional company, practice or whatever, to help them with their claims matter and get to find people in their own area, for example, or who have specialized in their type of project. So this would be the one-stop place for people who are looking to appoint consultants to help them with claims. We have a knowledge zone, which will be available to your designated members, where you can go in and research. I don't know, if you want to research concurrent delays, you can type in a search and you get links to lots of articles on current delays. You can put your designated employers through the training courses, through the webinars, etc., and give them CPD hours. We have a bookshop zone where we've got partnerships with various book publishers that specialize in construction industry publications, so you can get discounts. And if you are interested in increasing the skill sets of your staff, we can give information on any training courses that are available. And of course, the ICCP is linked to Claims Class. Was a specialist training organisation on subjects around claims and related matters. And there we go, Claims Class. So your employees would get discounts on any Claims Class courses. If you wanted to put your employees through Claims Class in-house training, that would be at a special preferable rate as well. We've already talked about the books, etc. So I guess if you are interested in what I've said so far, and hopefully you are champing at the bit wanting to register your company as a corporate ICCP member, the big question is, yeah, this is all great, but what's it going to cost? Well, let's just give you a bit of admin first. The subscriptions are payable on an annual basis. And we've got the admin set up, so when your subscription is due for renewal, we'll send you a reminder and allow you to renew and send you an invoice. Obviously, for those of you who are running your own companies, or you are maybe a sole trader, professional fees are tax deductible, so you're making a saving on your taxes as well. So let's have a look at the actual fees. So we've come up with this, and despite whatever level you join as, your fee includes the use of the ICCP corporate member logo. Your profile will be included on the corporate membership webpage of our website, and discount on all the ICCP accredited Claims Class courses, the newsletter, access to the members area, and access to the members online discussion forum. Oh yes, I should have mentioned that we have a very, very lively page on LinkedIn, where if a person wants some advice on something, they can post a question, and lots of other subscribers to the LinkedIn page will be there to give hopefully valuable advice. And very often Jen will ask one of the steering committee members, somebody's having a problem with this and they're not getting maybe the advice that they want. Could one of you guys wade in and have a look at this LinkedIn discussion and give people the benefit of your experience? That's one of the things that comes with being a fellow. So the fees are, if you are a smaller company with less than 5 employees, and when we talk about employers, we're talking about not your secretary or your office person, but your practicing, let's say, practitioners, your professionals, is £500 a year. Between 6 to 10 employees is £1,000 a year. And then for the larger companies, more than 10 practitioners or professional employees, £3,000 a year. As I've already mentioned, this is always going to be tax deductible. So depending on what your tax levels are, it's going to actually cost you less than that. And as I've already alluded to, as a corporate member, you can designate your staff, your employees, to have all those benefits that we've talked about: the news feed, the newsletter, access to the members area, etc. There are a couple of other payments related to administration. First of all, to apply, so we can check that you are suitable, because I have to say, we will restrict membership to people who are actively dealing with claims. So not anybody can join. There's got to be a reason for joining, and we will check that you are a suitable company. If we're going to allow you to use our logo, we need to verify and satisfy ourselves that you are already a professional company dealing with such matters. So there's an application fee. If you wish to have frame membership certificates, we can provide those at a cost per certificate. And in case at any time in the future your membership lapses, to cover the admin of rejoining you, there would be a £200 administration card cost, should I say. So hopefully this has got you interested. So if you are thinking about applying, it's very, very straightforward. All you need to do is decide which package you require or which package applies to your company. Complete the corporate membership application form, which I think will be available on the website, or it will certainly be available by contacting Jen. Once it's complete, scan it and send it back off to ourselves. Pay the membership fee. We will obviously return with an invoice. We will then review your application, your company, etc. And I would imagine that most people that are applying are going to qualify automatically, but we do have to go through this process. We'll then send you an invoice for the payment. So there we go. Any information you would like, any guidance or any questions you have, you can direct them to Jen, of course. And I think it's probably time to see if anybody's got any questions, or which you can do either via the chat box, or if you wish, you could raise your hand and we can unmute you and you can have a live discussion. So over to you.
Yeah. Okay, we do have a question, and I'll just say first, if anyone would like me to review their application documents, or if you would like to have a discussion over Zoom, anything like that, please just get in touch with me, and I am always here to help you. Ronald Tusinguire has asked, can we get today's presentation? Certainly, I will be posting the replay and the slides on the webinar, on the web page. Just give me, I'll have it up by tomorrow. And the follow-up question, I need to present to my colleagues. We are a consultancy company of 3 people and are interested in becoming members. Certainly, I am happy to share that. And again, if you would like to have a discussion over Zoom, if you require any assistance with that, please just get in touch with me and I can help you out in any way you need. That's what I'm here for.
I think it's, one thing I did omit to mention, we also have a PDF brochure on corporate membership. So for the gentleman that's interested in discussing it with his colleagues, it will be, I don't know where it's available, but certainly Jen can send you a copy. Anybody that wants a copy of the brochure for sharing with colleagues, or for future discussions, or to just remind you of the benefits, just shout out.
Yes, and anyone who did request additional information when they signed up for this webinar today will be getting a link to the PDF on the website. Sure.
It might be a good idea to just send it out to everybody anyway, Jen.
I can do that.
Yeah, save you asking.
Okay, and Ronald has a follow-up. He said he introduced his colleagues to claim class and they attended and liked it. So shout out to you, Andy.
Yeah, that was always a nice thing. Yeah, for those of you who don't realise that claims class is one of my babies as well. And now I'm semi-retired. I've sort of pulled back from the consultancy, but I still thoroughly enjoy being involved in the ICCP and thoroughly enjoy sharing my knowledge through training. So, and of course, I do know Ronald very, very well. I think it was Ronald that asked claims class to visit and do some in-house training for his company in Saudi Arabia, a Spanish company. And that was a few years ago, but we've known Ronald for many, many years. And that's the sort of relationship that we have in the ICCP. It's a very small, friendly organization. People are willing to help each other.
Yes, that is what we pride ourselves on. I don't see any other questions, so I'm going to say that this will be your last chance to get a live answer to a question. However, if you go away and later today, tomorrow, at some point in the future, you realize you do have more questions, as I've said a few times in the last minute or two, I am always here to answer your questions. So please do get in touch any time.
Yeah, one of the things with the ICCP, not like many, many things these days, which drive you crazy. You phone us up or you email us, and then you get through to some sort of automated robot. We don't have an automated robot. We have Jen. And as you can see, she's very much alive. She's very, very helpful. And our policy, which was set at the beginning, is where we look for reasons to say yes to people rather than reasons to say no to people. So that was our mantra, the organization that likes to say yes.
Yes, I will say, if you are trying to get in touch with me, it is much faster to use email, because I am one of those people who will set my phone down somewhere and then look for it 3 days later. So if you are looking to get a quick answer, email is your best chance. Okay, and I don't see any more questions in the chat box. So I hope we've answered your questions today. Do you have any final words, Andy?
No, apart from to say thanks for attending, everyone. And as usual, thank you for organising all this in your usual superb and friendly manner, Jen. So thanks, everybody, and look forward to chatting to you, being in contact with you, and hopefully welcoming some of you as corporate members as well. So thanks a lot and have a great day.
Yes, thank you all. Have a good day. Goodbye.